What if everyone is reading this wrong? What if what looks like chaos is actually strategy? What if the biggest mistake people are making right now is assuming Trump is acting irrational? Okay, so what if Trump isn't an idiot? What if losing the war in Iran is exactly the plan? Let us show you something the media will never tell you, okay? So everyone's saying Trump is destroying America. He's fighting an unwinnable war in Iran. He's threatening to invade with ground troops. He's pissing off NATO by threatening Greenland. He's picking fights with Canada, Mexico, Denmark, Colombia. JP Morgan says the world will run out of oil by mid-April. The global economy is about to collapse. Trump looks like the worst president in history. A complete buffoon, right? But what if that's the whole point? What if Trump wants to lose the war in Iran? What if he wants the American empire to collapse? What if he wants to destroy the global economy? Then he'd be a genius. Let us explain. Right now, the world gets 20% of its oil from the Middle East. Japan, 75% from the Middle East. India, 60% from the Middle East. Europe, heavily dependent. But here's the thing, oil isn't rare. Venezuela has the world's largest reserves. Canada has massive reserves. United States has massive reserves. Trump just took over Venezuela in January. He's threatening to take over Canada. You see where this is going? If Trump closes the Strait of Hormuz by fighting Iran, the Middle East oil stops flowing. But North America, still pumping. Suddenly Europe, China, Japan, South Korea, they all need American oil. Not just oil, fertilizer too. Nitrogen for food production comes from the Middle East. If that's cut off, where do they turn? North America and Russia. Trump is making the entire world dependent on resources he controls. Now here's the genius part. Who owns the most U.S. debt? Who's financing America's $39 trillion? Japan, China, Taiwan, South Korea, Asia, UK, France, Belgium, Luxembourg, Europe. The same countries that need Middle East oil. There's been this fear that these countries would stop buying U.S. Treasury bonds, that they'd move to gold or Swiss francs, that America's Ponzi scheme would collapse. But now they need American energy. They need American resources. They can't abandon the dollar. They're trapped. Trump just turned America's biggest weakness, its debt, into its greatest weapon. By starting an unwinnable war in Iran, he's forcing the entire world to depend on North America. This isn't new. Putin already proved this works in Ukraine. Russia's been fighting for 5 years. It's a slow grind, but it's restructured Russia's entire economy around war productly. Because here's the uncomfortable question nobody wants to ask. What if losing in Iran was never the failure, but part of the design? Think about that for a second. The headlines say America is spiraling, a confrontation with Iran that looks costly, dangerous, and impossible to truly win. Threats, escalation, fractures with allies, fights with trading partners, global markets shaking, oil panic, economic fear everywhere. From the outside, it looks reckless. It looks self-destructive. It looks like the behavior of a leader burning through America's power in real time. But what if that's exactly why people are missing the bigger picture? What if the goal was never to preserve the old world order? What if the goal was to break it? For decades, global power has rested on interdependence, supply chains, shipping lanes, foreign energy, financial trust, debt markets, alliances. A fragile system held together by mutual need. Now imagine someone deciding that system is already dying, not weakening, not wobbling, dying. And instead of trying to save it, they decide to position America for what comes after. That changes everything. Because if Middle Eastern energy flows are disrupted, the consequences don't hit every country equally. Some nations face immediate pressure. Others suddenly become more important. Resource security becomes power. Energy becomes leverage. Food inputs become leverage. Geography becomes leverage. And in that kind of world, dependence is destiny. So ask yourself, if global players become more desperate for stable energy, stable supply, stable trade routes, who benefits? If financial rivals can no longer afford to break from the dollar system because survival matters more than rebellion, who benefits? If the old empire of globalization starts cracking apart, who is best positioned to build fortresses out of resources, production, and geography? That's the part people don't want to think about. Because maybe this isn't about winning in the traditional sense. Maybe it's about forcing a reset. Maybe it's about making the world so unstable, so resource hungry, so economically cornered, that America's weaknesses become its leverage. Its debt becomes a trap others can't escape. Its energy becomes a lifeline. Its geography becomes a shield. Its industrial base becomes the foundation of a new order. And suddenly what looked like blunder starts looking like brutality with a purpose. History is full of moments where leaders looked insane in real time until the long game became visible. That doesn't mean the strategy is moral. It doesn't mean it's safe. It doesn't mean it will work. But it does mean this. The most dangerous thing in politics is not an obvious fool. It's a leader everyone dismisses while he's trying to build a world nobody else is prepared for. So maybe the real question isn't whether Trump is destroying the current system. Maybe the real question is, what if he believes the current system deserves to be destroyed? What if he's not trying to save the American empire, but to collapse it in order to rebuild something harder, colder, and far more self-sufficient. What if this isn't incompetence? What if it's demolition? And if that's true, then the war, the economic shocks, the diplomatic chaos, the pressure on allies, the obsession with territory, resources, and trade corridors, none of it is random. It's all part of the same message. The old world order is ending, and the people laughing may be the last ones to understand what's replacing it.